Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and welcome to This Week in WoW for the week of June 20th. Still no Mythic Plus rotation quite set yet. However, we can talk a little bit about last week's like we normally have been. Last week we had Fortified Storming and Bursting, so this week we do have Tyrannical. So Fortified Storming, Bursting, a lot of people pushing keys, completing keys really easy this past week. Did still see a little bit of complaining from the higher end community, but not a ton of complaining from them like we did the previous week. I don't know if they just got it out of their system or whatever. I do know that at the very high end, they would still like to see some tuning to some of these keys, some of these dungeons, excuse me, especially before the Great Push tournament comes out, which is actually a pretty cool, like, WoW esports for me wanes and goes and comes, like, with how interested I am with it. But the Great Push is actually pretty interesting because I think it simulates actual real in-game play. More where you're just pushing the key, you're not necessarily doing it for speed or whatever. Speed still is good, but you're just doing the highest key you can, and so I know a lot of them are hoping that there's some tuning before that comes out, so we'll see there. But yeah, again, back to Tyrannical this week. So I assume that maybe the complaints will get louder again because they were loud the week of Tyrannical. But we'll see. Maybe there'll just be some tuning and there'll be no need for complaining or whatever. But that's where we are as far as Mythic Plus goes. Let's go ahead and talk about what is going on in game this week. Of course, maybe the most notable thing to mention first is the Welcome to Sanctuary event is still going on. If you don't know, you just get an absolute ton of reputation and experience right now in the game. If you've only been logging on to raid log, or you only been logging on to do keys or roleplay or whatever, now is the time to level up your alts or level a character, or do something you've been putting off or whatever as far as leveling a character goes, because it is very fast and it is very it's very fun in some ways to basically complete a dungeon, like get a whole bar of experience just for completing the dungeon. It's actually it's just very very good time to actually level your characters right now, and I did level one character myself already, and I may be leveling even more with this buff up right now. So definitely something you should look into doing if you are interested in that at all. And this is going to be going on for a while still, so you still have plenty of time. But you do want to take advantage of it if you're somebody who plays alts, or wants to farm your reputation or whatever the case may be. As far as the weekly events, we just have Arena Skirmish and PvP Brawl. PvP's been pretty dead, and I've talked about it a few times. I'm not going to keep preaching on it. But PvP's been pretty dead here recently, and that's okay. And then, for now, I guess we'll see where that goes. But that's for another video, of course. And then we have the Midsummer Fire Festival actually starting up on Wednesday. So this is actually one of the bigger holidays that lasts a good amount of time. It goes into July. So with Midsummer Fire Festival, you can take part in that. I don't know if this is one that's got updated or not. I think the updated holidays is coming out in sometime in 10.2 or around 10.2. I can't remember. I'd have to look at the roadmap again. It's either in 10.1.7, or maybe it's like 10.2.7 or 10.2.5 or something on their like the roadmap thing. So it's probably not updated yet, but this is another one that's actually pretty cool the first time you do it, the Midsummer Fire Festival. But it doesn't have a lot of replayability, and it's just something that could be updated. I think when they first made the holidays, they had the idea of, you just do this one time, and it's cool, right? And not thinking that, the game's going to last 20 years. Are you going to want to do this 20 times? Probably not. And I don't think it was ever made for replayability, so I hope that they really factor replayability in to when they update these holidays. Or just have a planned thing of updating them more often, even if the event isn't that replayable. Maybe they just remake the event more often. That would work as well. Other than that, we did, on a personal note, we did manage to get Rashok down, despite not having, the most optimal. We are guild suboptimal, the most optimal composition possible. Our warrior was out this week, and we did not have battle shout, and that made that DPS check extremely difficult. But we did get that down, so we are on to Sakarn, which is not the most fun boss after they got rid of the cheese ability there. Definitely some people that are really hating that boss, and so potentially could see nerfs to that boss as well. Mythic Plus wise, I did do a few Mythic Plus. I didn't get 8 done this week because I just didn't have time, but I did do 4 Mythic Plus for my vault this week because I need to start working on getting rings, Rep Paladins, Monks, and Rep Paladins, Windwalker Monks, and Tanks will need to have rings in 10.1.5, as the Amulet is going to be nerfed heavily, and then there's some compensation buffs, but you'll need a ring to put it on for the Amulet. So I have been trying to have some rings. I have some options, but they aren't the greatest options. Obviously, I would love to get a 447 ring, or a vault one that I could upgrade to 447 would be fine as well. Speaking of 10.1.5, we do not have the official date for that, but some people. So I'm pretty good at guessing when these patches come. I think my guess was going to be, it was either going to be July 4th or July 11th, and I think I'm still kind of sticking with that as far as that goes, either July 4th or July 11th. I know other people that are saying 11th or 18th. I saw people say 18th or 25th. But at some point in July, we're going to get this patch, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was literally the first week of July. But at some point in July, we're going to get this 10.1.5. It seems like it's pretty much already done on the PTR for the most part. I'm sure there's still some minor things to fix or whatever, but it seems like it's pretty much done, and they've already done some of the things that they normally do last, which is kind of like some class tuning here and there, and trying to set things up. The nerfing of the ring, for example, that's another thing that they would normally do towards the end of their cycle there. So this patch could be coming out very imminently, within a couple weeks. And yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it came out next week. I would even say that. I'm not predicting that, but it wouldn't surprise me if it came out next week. So lots of stuff to cover there. I haven't even got into like the mega dungeon trinkets. There's all kinds of cool stuff regarding this 10.1.5. It's another big patch, another one of these mid patches that's actually kind of a big patch. So definitely looking forward to that. So that's it for this one. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out so much. And other than that, everybody have a good one.